Hairstyle Fashion Week.
Welcome, thank you.
Who are you and what do you do?
My name is John Vial and I am the creative director of Fudge Haircare, and I also, we as a brand also sponsor London Collections Men, so that's quite exciting.
Brilliant. Fantastic James Long catwalk this morning.
I mean, James Long is, I think, quite maverick anyway. He always likes to push the boat slightly, and this time we used lots and lots of cling film. It was almost slightly anti-hair. They wanted it to look like plastic hair, like not real. So we used loads and loads of cling film, then we used paint box, which is our semi-permanent colour, and we layered that on, layered, then combed it through with a comb so the actual colour gave like groove lines like it was plastic hair, and then loads and loads and loads of shine, so it literally looked like Lego head. It was brilliant actually, you know, sort of anti-hair hair.
What was the inspiration? I mean, it sounds amazing, right?
Well, last season he was all about aerodynamic shapes, like real head-hugging shapes, and what happened was all of his collection was inspired by sort of boys that ride bikes, so the hair was really aerodynamic and super shiny. So it's just one step further. It's a bit slightly sci-fi, and hair that was so shiny it looked plastic. That was the idea last season. So this time we just thought, let's make it really plastic. Fuck it, is what we thought. Let's make it really plastic.
Is it a trend that, is it only for the catwalk?
I think what happens is you see something on a catwalk, and I think, you know, nobody's asking anybody to take stuff from a catwalk, literally. You know, all the brilliant people I've worked with over the years, whether it's McQueen or Essential Iron or any of those, then you never expect anybody to take a literal look from the runway. What you do is take your inspiration from that. So I don't think anybody's going to walk around with cling film on the hair. But do I think that people will start wearing more product so that it becomes shinier? 100%. Yeah, you just take your level of inspiration. Or they might start colouring the hair navy blue, which was all navy blue, which is a beautiful colour.
Let's talk about some trends coming up and talk about the products as well. You know, how important. Do men put a lot of products in there?
I mean, you know, Fudge is a 60% male brand, so obviously we have a really big loyal following of men. And I think, if I'm being really honest, the days of trends per se have gone. I don't think you can say to a young boy, you've got to shave your head, you've got to have long hair. Those days have gone. It's all about respecting the individual, which is very much what Fudge's heritage really is. But I think there are movements, and I think what we're seeing, you know, we're seeing lots of really sort of short, tight head shapes. We're also seeing really long waist length hair that might have been not real, but it might have been weave. So it's all about expressing yourself as an individual, and I think that really embodies what Fudge are as a brand anyway. I think trends are gone. I don't think we can dictate to anybody in clothes or fashion or design in any way what happens anymore. We're individuals.
What is it about footballers that men are obsessed with? You know, Gareth...
I don't necessarily know if it's about footballers, but what I think historically, if you look back at sportsmen, if a sportsman endorses a look or an idea, then it really buys into the spirit. So if you look back really historically, people like Kevin Keegan having perms, it suddenly made it acceptable for men to have perms in the 70s. If you think about people like Dennis Rodman colouring his hair neon pink and blue in the 90s, if you think about Beckham, you know, all those things that he's had, the quiffs, the Mohicans, the braiding, you know, him wearing a sarong, even Wayne Rooney having a hair transplant. I think once a sportsman endorses it, it becomes good to go. So it's great to have sports endorsing.
Yeah. London Collections Men, you know, what's your take on it? You know?
I think, you know, what's really interesting about London is historically when you think about women's wear, you know, New York is the home of big billboards, it's sportswear, it's Donna, it's Calvin, you know, Paris and Milan are couturiers, and London's always been synonymous in women's wear with being directional, forward thinking. I think historically we thought of as men as Savile Row and being very tailored, which is where McQueen of course got all of his skill from. But if you look now, what we're proving is that we might have the tailoring skills of Savile Row with the innovation of young British design. And so that collaboration has truly made, for me, London Collections really electric. It's been an amazing season.
I'm glad you brought up Savile Row. Men's Style Fashion are one of the first official sponsors for the first ever National Tailoring Week.
Right.
276 universities involved.
Wow.
What does Savile Row mean to you?
I think Savile Row for me is quintessentially all about, you know, discipline and technique and all that sort of stuff, you know, and I think if you look at the likes of McQueen, who really pushed the boundaries of creativity, but his heritage is from Savile Row. And I think a bit like, you know, Zaha Hadid's the most important architect in the world, in my humble opinion. And however squiffy the buildings are, it's always a really strong foundation. And I think it's the same, you know, Louise Wilson's the professor of St Martin's MA, and I think she always talks about having a really strong basics to build yourself on. So if you're a really strong tailor like McQueen was, you can then start to break the rules because you know them inside out. And I think nowhere in the world is tailoring as strong as Savile Row.
Yeah, no, well that's what the awards are about. So whoever the winner is gets shoot with Men's Style Fashion and everything.
Right.
The reason why we've done it is because we're targeting a younger market.
Yeah.
They're intimidated by Savile Row. Well, how would you encourage encourage, like with good hairstyles. I mean, we did a great interview with Gibbs and Hawks.
Yeah, yeah.
They were doing the hairstyles, and the guy was the non-conventional tattoo kind of, the modern Savile Row. How could we put the younger market?
I think Savile Row is not to be. I think if you look at some of the great people that come out of Savile Row, I think it's old-fashioned tailoring is really wrong. I think it's not. If you look at people like Oswald Boateng, who take that really simple tailoring and then use it with neon colours. I mean, he really pushes the boundaries. But Savile Row is to be celebrated, not to be afraid of. It's the most amazing part of our British fashion, and I think we should really embrace and celebrate Savile Row. We love it.
Listen, what do you think of my hairstyle this morning?
Well, I know that the girl that cuts your hair's from Brighton, and she's a fabulous hairdresser. So, I mean, what am I going to tell you? It's marvellous.
Brilliant. Thank you so
Welcome.